Hi, everybody. Nate's being a baby again.
It's true.
Why are you being
What?
such a baby, Nate?
I don't know. I think I was born this way. I threw my back out last Sunday, and then I threw it out again on Saturday playing in a pool tournament, thinking that I was good enough to play in the pool tournament. So that didn't go well. I don't know. My life's just hard. My back hurts. I got to put up with you. It's nice to see Chris, though.
Yeah.
What was that?
I'm just saying, I'd imagine it is.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
right.
as you can see from the header, why are we doing a show? Well, there's really wasn't a ton that went on last week. I mean, I guess we could talk about that massive $600 and under $200,000 pool tournament, and maybe we'll bring that up at some point in time. But nothing huge happened for professional pool last weekend, so we're just going to do the podcast, and we hope you all partake and ask questions and participate in the chats. And who knows? We'll see if this works out, and if it doesn't work out, well, it was Jim's idea, and Jim's an idiot. So, what can you do? So,
nice.
it's good to see you, Jim. So while we're waiting for you guys to get your questions in, hopefully you get your questions in pretty soon. I will give a shout out. I normally do this at the end, but I'll do this now. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors that makes the show possible. First and foremost, Jacoby Custom Cues, which we will be watching a fantastic ad here in just a second, because they really do give us all of the support that we need to be able to keep the show going. So as a huge thank you to them, here, watch an ad. It's great. And there you have it. That was fantastic. The exact break cue that I use. Jumps like a dream, too. So,
Even when he's breaking.
Yeah, exactly. So we also want to give a huge shout out to Horo Tips, Onboard Sportswear, Digital Pool, Salado, Billiards Digest, and Insight Performance Coaching. All of these sponsors that allow us to do what we do here. All right. So any questions we have come in from the comments? It looks like, I don't know, something happened during that. We lost them, but I still have them in here. So Brett says, see you in Des Moines. No, I'm not going to be at Des Moines. Sorry. I thought about it, but I was actually supposed to be in Europe right now, and that fell through. So we made plans not to go to that. I'm under, let's see here. Oh,
Christian.
This is a fun one.
Yeah.
Christian McLean, how long before someone breaks 850 Fargo, and who will it be? Well, let the Cue It Up research team get on this right now to find out the current. I believe it's Josh Filler's the highest right now, if I'm not mistaken, and he's right around an 840.
No, I think 835 maybe.
842.
842. Wow.
So the top five is Joshua Filler at 842. Number 2 is Fedor Gorst at 837, followed by Francisco Sanchez Ruiz at 837. Shane Van Boning, 833, and Eklund Kachi at 829. So we're 8 points away. Well, the easy answer here, I guess, is Joshua Filler for who's going to get there first. Chris, why don't you go first? How long until they break 850, and who will it be?
Well, if Filler can win a couple of the next Opens that come up, I'd imagine it's going to be him. That's the easy answer, isn't it? Where's Wu Ching on there on the Fargo rate? Since I'm fanboying on him recently.
He has fallen off. So if I'm not mistaken, and I might get this wrong, I think if you don't have any games that go into the system after one full year, you actually drop off the top 100 list. So,
okay. Yeah.
So he is not on it. But if I remember right, I believe he was like at 828-ish last time he was on here.
There's a Wu Ching in there, and he's 525, so it can't be him. It's a different Wu Ching.
Well, either that or that's from his tournament at, I guess, the recent Spanish Open.
Yeah, but he doesn't get 525 for that tournament, does he?
No, not with the wins he's got.
No.
So, go ahead, Chris. What do you think?
I would imagine it's going to be Filler. it's got to be Filler, right? Nobody's ever been above 850, no.
Not with an established Fargo. No.
Well, I mean, if you want to put that criteria on, whatever.
Oh no, don't complicate it.
No, Nate, let's not. Don't go there.
Because there's still some Filipino guys in there that I've heard of, sort of, but they've got mad like over 800s and high 780s, 90s and stuff. I'm not really sure how the Fargo rate thing works itself out if you're just playing in a little circle of the same people. Like if you're just playing in the Philippines, can it be bumped up quicker than if you were playing against people everywhere? I don't know. Or is it a true reflection? I don't know.
Well, the idea is it's going to be a little pool. If you exist within a pool where none of your players go in and out, then yeah, it's completely isolated. But if you start mixing in with, one player leaves that pool and goes off and plays somewhere else, well, they're going to bring all of the data into the pool, right?
Mm.
I guess I had it explained to me as just look at it as like a tide pool, right? The tide pool is completely isolated until the tide rises, and then the entire ocean comes in and swarms in and mixes it all together, and it becomes part of the ocean, right?
Mm.
Jim, what do you think?
If you look at the Fargos now, they're becoming more and more condensed, and in general higher. There's more players over the 800 than there's ever been, and I think that just comes from more data is getting put into the system with all the matchroom events that are going on and stuff like that. So I think 850 is not far away, obviously. And if any of those guys that you mentioned at the top of the list, the likes of the Filler, Sanchez, Ruiz, Federer, if they go on a big run in a tournament and they put, if Filler puts, let's say Filler plays Sanchez and he puts him in the seat and does him 9-1 at the next the European Open, his Fargo shoots up then, doesn't it? Really? If you're beating a guy that's on 837 and you're putting him down 9-1, that gives you that means you've been playing a Fargo at about 1,000,
for that little stretch, right?
So that's it. So now that they're all playing each other more regularly and there's more data going into the system, it just naturally will go up. I don't even know if there's a top that you can reach if it comes out somewhere. But I don't see it being too long before 850. And yeah, Filler's in the lead just now, but anyone around him who gives him a beating one time and puts him in a seat, then they're going to shoot up past him because it's just a massive amount of points that you get for beating somebody like Filler 9-1 or 9-2.
Well, the thing is, you might go on and have that happen to you right after that match, though, too.
I would be interested to see what Johan Chu is, how his Fargo was affected by beating Filler 9-1. He's played some matches since then, obviously, but just what that one match would do to your Fargo by beating somebody like Filler 9-1 would be interesting to know. But yeah, I don't see it being far away. It wasn't long ago that the top guys were around about the 830, and now they're up above the 840. So 850 will happen pretty soon as well. Yeah.
Do either of you know the guy who runs Fargo Rate? I thought it's two guys, right?
Mike
but
Page.
do either of you know
Mike
him?
Page.
Yeah, Mike Page.
It'd be interesting to get him on here sometime just to talk about it and,
he's been on here before talking about it.
Oh, has he? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's back in the archive, way back in the beginning of the podcast, like 4 years ago.
Yeah. Christian asking a follow-up, who will be the next active American over the 800? I think at the moment there's just the two of them, isn't there? There's just Shane and Skylar.
Deshane's 801.
Hmm?
Deshane's 801.
Shane
Yeah,
Walthall.
Deshaine, Mike Deshaine.
No,
Mike,
Mike.
but do we still talk
Active.
about him as a active? Do we still talk about him as an active American?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any professional tour that allows him to play. He can't play
Yeah.
Predator. He can't play Matchroom.
Really?
Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
kicked out of both.
Oh,
He's a naughty boy.
okay.
He says and does some things that are questionable at best, we'll say. So
The way he chalks his
He's-
view is questionable enough.
He's burnt a lot of bridges that were then built for him again, and then he just decided to burn them again. So
yeah.
eventually, people stopped building them again. You know.
So I did have to refresh because there was something going on with the chat feature. So I lost all the previous comments, but I pulled them up here, so I still have them. The next question comes from Hector Montalvo Jr. What's y'all's take on headphones for any tournaments? I like this question. Jim, what do you think?
While you're warming up and you're practicing, then do whatever you want. When you're playing a match, no headphones.
Chris?
I don't know. I think some tournaments should have it. I don't know why, just to disagree with Jim, but some tournaments should probably have some differences in what you can and can't do, just to experiment.
I think at any time during the match, you should be able to be heard by your opponent.
Oh, that's a good point. Sorry.
Well,
Yeah,
unless you're gonna have a ref, right? Because you really only have to communicate with the ref at that point, right?
Correct, but then the referee is going to require that you can hear him.
Yeah.
Sure. I think the test for this is, and Matchroom doesn't actually do this. So I'll start out by saying, whatever the TV table is, whatever you want people to see your sport represented as should be the rules across the board. With that being said, like I said, Matchroom doesn't do this because they have shot clock on the main table and they don't have it on the surrounding arenas. They don't have a full-time ref in the surrounding. With that being said, I think that you have to live up to it. I know that I would like to think that eventually Matchroom is going to get to the point where they do have that as standard across all tables, like Predator does. So I don't know. I don't think that headphone should be allowed for professional events because I don't think that we want a televised event where we have somebody jamming out to Eye of the Tiger in the corner going. Although that would make for some pretty entertaining dances, you know. Can you imagine Jeffrey DeLuna sitting over there like jamming out to Taylor Swift or something in between innings?
But and you know that at some stage somebody's going to have somebody. It's not going to be music that's on in their headphones. It's going to be somebody else somewhere in the hall who's talking to them and helping them or whatever. Or you know.
Well, I don't. What player out there? And that's what Yes to Crypto says. So we can throw this up here. What player out there needs help from somebody in the moment on shot selection? Let's say we can't say shot selection, right? Because there's nobody out there that's going to know better than the player in the moment how they're feeling and what they think that they can do, right? So do we agree that shot selection isn't going to be certainly by somebody who has a chance of winning? I mean, obviously, if I go out there in the ring and I'm playing against Joshua Filler, sure. If I have Mark Wilson in my ear telling me shot selection, or Johan Riosink telling me play this. He's not really actually a big pool guy. He's more of a fundamental guy. But regardless, that's not going to give me the edge. It's not like I'm Mark Wilson's patterns away from beating Josh Filler, right? So we're talking about the top guys already that have a chance. So do we honestly think that having somebody in your ear is even going to help you?
Whether it helps you or not, the possibility of it should not be out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay,
it's not just that you have certain tournaments where a result in another table affects you while you're on the table. You know, you have like round robin tournaments where you're playing for a qualification and there's another match going on another table, and the score there, you know, is affecting the score that you might need to have on your table, and somebody's giving you updates on how it's gone over there, and you know that kind of thing can happen. You know, it's just it's an unnecessary thing that nobody needs to be listening to music while they're playing. You know, you're there, you sit there, you play the game. You don't wear your headphones. Could you imagine if they started playing? You know, if all of a sudden Rafael Nadal come out and started playing with headphones on and stuff like that, and listening to music to try and keep himself calm, to keep away from the you know, it could be seen as helping your nerves. If there's a crowd watching you and there's a buzz in there and there's an electricity in there and it makes you nervous, you put your headphones on, you don't hear it anymore. You don't hear the oohs and the ahs and the and I mean,
yeah.
No, no
I
headphones
for amateur events. What do you think for amateur events?
Same.
I like headphones for amateur events. What does it matter? I mean, you got to be respectful. So I actually played against I would consider him a professional player. He's a 750 Fargo. I played against him in Vegas for the VNEA Masters in the final 8, and he had headphones in, and I tried to stop him in the very first rack and say like, what are you doing here? Because he kind of just got down on a shot it was a safety play, but there's a safety there that he could have just rolled up on a ball against the rail, and that is what he ended up doing. And I just tried to ask him, what are you doing? And he didn't hear me because he had his headphones in. And he shot the shot, and it was definitely not a foul. But if he hit it poorly, it could have been close to a foul. And I basically said, I got to be able to communicate with you a little bit. So he, very respectfully he took one of his earbuds out, and he was reachable the entire time. But I mean that if you can imagine a situation like that where it was close and it was close to the finals, so, hill or something like that, and a big argument could ensue. So I guess I have no problem with headphones. You just got to be reachable. You got to have some way to communicate without chucking a pool ball at your head while you're down on a shot, I guess. So I guess let's move on from that question.
Hang on, one more thing. One quick one, an aside. Is it true that all the old pros complained about Shane in the beginning and made him turn his hearing aids on? Or is that just an urban myth?
I haven't heard that.
You never heard that, Jim? Have you ever heard that?
I think that's an urban myth that he used to turn his earphones off to stop getting sharp. It was also, he also made jokes before saying that, when people say when you're playing doubles with Earl, is it not a little bit distracting? And he said, no, I just have my earphones off when I'm playing, which is bullshit as well. I mean,
yeah. So if you're tuning in and watching this, please we're doing completely listener questions this time. Please get your questions in if you'd like to ask us something, and please give this stream a share. We have like 5 shares right now. So let's get it up to, we got 40 people watching. Let's see if we can get 10, 15, 20 shares. Help us out, get us out there. Let's go on to our next question. Well, I guess we didn't really answer the who's the next American over 800. I mean, I don't actually foresee any Americans getting there anytime soon. Within the next year or two, but I think the next one that's going to get there is Shane Wolford. I don't know exactly where he. I think last time I checked, he was like right around the 870, just shy of 870.
870, that's pretty good. 870 is pretty good, Nate.
Oh, sorry, 770. Did I say 870? 770. Let's see here. Let me go to the top 100 in the U.S. So Shane Wolford is my guess. Why can't I not find him? Okay, so yeah, he's at 765 right now. Players in between there that are like regular players: Tyler Steyer, Josh Roberts is a 779, but I don't think he plays enough to get there. Oscar Dominguez is a 780. Again, I don't think he plays enough. We're removing Mike DeShane and Justin Bergman. I think Shane Wolford is probably the next. I mean, Tyler Steyer or Shane Wolford, but I mean, as much as Tyler plays, you would think that he would be there by now if he was going to get there. So I was going to say,
if you've been active for a number of years, playing the amount of tournaments that Tyler's played, and you're hung up around the 760, 770, then the jump to 800 is going to take something big has to change in your game. Whereas Shane Wolford is still on the upward curve at the moment, and he's got to that level. So I think he still has a way to go. Whether or not that takes him all the way to 800 or not, I don't know. But he's not topped out yet. It looks like Tyler seems to have topped out slightly, and now something else has to happen for him to take the next step.
He's at least plateaued, right? He's
plateaued. Yeah.
He can get there. I mean, he's got the work ethic.
Get there, but I mean, it will take a change. Whereas I think Shane is still progressing to his plateau, and we don't yet know where his plateau will be.
A year ago, we were having conversations about like he's definitely not making the Mosconi Cup because there's no way that you could have a 720 Fargo as a member of the Team US Mosconi Cup team. And now he's jumped 50 Fargo points. That's hard to do. I mean, it's hard to do at any ability. it's really, really hard to do when you're already a 720, right? I mean, that's
No, but those 50 points from, I think those 50 points from 720 to 770 are a lot easier than from 770 to 820.
well, they're equally as easy as 820 to 870.
I don't believe it because the winning it.
What?
The win, the,
What?
no,
Nobody's
because
done 870. How can you say that?
eh?
I'm saying that your point is silly because of course that's true, because the jump from 770 to 820 is just as hard, even harder, and then that's even harder than 820 to 870.
Yeah, but
Right?
I mean,
Of
I
course
know it's
it's
an
getting
obvious
harder
point,
and
but I was
harder.
just making a point. He's done the jump of 50 points from 720 to 770. It's going to be a lot tougher for him to jump another 30, 40 points.
Sure. Just like it's even
Yeah.
harder to do it again after that, right? I mean, that's the point. Once you get, and Demetrius has really ranted about this a lot when he was back on the show. I don't know where Demetrius is. Demetrius hates us now. He opens a pool room and all he does is that now. Just joking. But I mean, he's made this big thing. I mean, at some point in time, you get so good. I mean, you take shots that to an amateur are like 50% shots, right? And then you take them as a pro and now they're 98% shots. Well, how do you improve on 98? 99. So congratulations. Every 100 times you shoot the shot, you improve one time, right?
Mhm.
And you get so good at all these different skills that you're improving on them micro fractions. And when you really take that into account over over your entire game, you're not improving enough to really have it show that easily in your game. So
No, but
by the
it'll
time
show
that
in
you
your
get
results.
by the time that you get to a 770, you're damn near good at every single aspect of the game. What you're doing is you're changing those 95s to 96s, 97s, 98%. And that's the difference often between a 780 and an 820 is they're going to, not make that mistake, but 2 or 3 times out of 100,
Mhm.
where another player will make it 5. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So who will be the next active player over 100? I think I at least say Shane Wolford. It sounds like you agree with me. Chris, do you have an opinion on that?
No, same.
Okay.
I agree.
It looks
So
like
the real kin via Twitch. What is your opinion on the Matchroom versus EPA and EPBF? We did say we were going to take all the hard hitting questions, and I'll jump on the fire first. I think that the EPA, EPBF, and really the WPA, all of those kind of grouped into one, they've ran a sinking ship for, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years. And nobody had enough clout with financial backing to stand up to them and say, no, we're not doing it that way, right? So this is my opinion, of course. Obviously what was working before, obviously what was happening before wasn't working, right? I mean, we weren't gaining any ground. All of the ground that we've gained in the last basically 15 years, remove Matchroom from it. And all of Matchroom's influence, what has actually grown out of this industry? The EPBF is still doing the same things they did 10 years ago. Maybe they have an event or two more on the calendar, but the payouts look very similar now to what they did 10 years ago. Predator stuff, that absolutely they've grown out. Can you say off the back of Matchroom? You can make an argument, but I would say they're at least organic enough. If you remove Matchroom and their influence on the industry, there has been nearly, in my opinion, no advances.
Nothing comparable anyway. Nothing even.
Yeah, nothing even. So now Matchroom comes around and they say, all right, well, those with the gold make the rules, right? And that's historically been the case in everything. Whoever has the money makes the rules. EPBF, WPA didn't want to partake in that. They wanted to keep things the way that they've been doing it the last 20 years, which clearly works great. And Matchroom said, bump you then. We'll just do it our own way. And you can either fall in line or you can go bye-bye. And, we can, there's a lot of people that get really upset and butthurt about the fact that Matchroom is going off and doing their own thing. But we'll see if it works. I mean, if Matchroom goes bye-bye next year and takes everything that they've done with it, this might tank the entire industry. WPA, EPA, EPBF, Predator, they might all go bye-bye with it. Who knows? We don't know. But I'm much more likely to want to tie myself to the Matchroom side of things, seeing as they've made improvements. And I don't think that you could make a serious argument that the other organizations have. I don't know. Either one of you guys want to expand upon that or tell me I'm an idiot or anything like that?
No, I agree. I agree that it hasn't moved anywhere. I didn't start playing in the pro events until Matchroom came around. Purposefully, I didn't. I've been watching pro American pool, 9-ball, whatever, for like 15, 16 years since Appleton started, really. And I'd never once even thought about entering an event until Matchroom came around. I played in enough bad pool events in English pool. I'd even given up on that. So, no, it's all a load of crap apart from the Matchroom stuff. Predator looks good, but the rest of it, independent stuff's good. But Euro Tour stuff like that, keep it. It's not attracting anybody new.
Jim?
Yeah, what do I add to that? I mean, Matchroom, Barry Hearn is Barry Hearn. And if he wants to do something, he'll go ahead and do it. And he's not breaking any rules. He's stepping on a few people's toes, ruffled a few feathers, but that's what they need. What I'd like to see now is from the other guys to step up and say, well, you know what? If you're going to do it, we're going to do ours even better, and we're going to try and compete with you. And hopefully they all push each other along. I was almost, there was talk in the beginning about Matchroom and Predator coming together and doing it all together, kind of thing. I'm glad they didn't, because they're the two big guns in the business, and you want them to be pushing each other to improve and improve. And you see that the Predator production and the Predator stuff is getting better and better every time as well. It's not a Matchroom level, I'll grant that, but they don't have the same resources that Matchroom do either. But they are improving all the time, and they're trying to do the best that they possibly can, and that's only good for the industry and for the players. So. EPA and EPBF are the ones that are mentioned there, and I mean they are. I don't want to use the word irrelevant or insignificant, but they're becoming a little bit like backstage. We know they're there, but nobody really.
They should refocus on becoming the amateur platforms.
Yeah,
probably.
I think they will end up being that. I mean, if you look,
they're going to be forced into it.
But, I mean, Emily's announcing like 52 tournaments now. I mean, there's only 52 weeks in the year, so that's the entire year full of Matchroom ranking events. I mean, okay, some of them are just events that have always been there, but now Matchroom have said, we'll put ranking points on there, not a massive amount, but they're announcing new tournaments all the time. So players are going to end up, the top professionals. They're not going to go to the Euro Tours anymore because there'll be a Matchroom event on at the same weekend somewhere, so they're going to go to that instead. So, I mean, whether the EPBF want the Euro Tour to be an amateur tour or a sort of a feeder tour into the big show, so to speak, whether they want it or not, it'll probably end up being like that anyway, So, I mean, I don't see an issue with it. Yeah,
it'll be a good thing overall. It broadens the foundational piece for amateurs to get into proper tournaments. Be a good thing for everybody overall.
Okay, well, I think we're good on that one. Let's move on to the next question, which comes from Brett Snowden, and we're kind of falling behind on questions, but that's good. What do you feel about BJ Ushery sitting in the top 5 spot for the U.S. currently? I guess as the American, I'll start with this one too. It's neat. It'll never last. BJ has already expressed multiple times he's not interested in running around chasing Matchroom points. He's not willing to travel large distances. He's not seemingly willing to get on a plane and go across the pond. And at the end of the day, we are going to have others that are willing to do that, like Tyler and Shane Wolford, and Sky and Shane are locked in no matter what from start to finish. So it's those two. I look at Tyler and Shane as being borderline locks at this point, whether they qualify as a top 3 spot or not. So it comes down to the 5th spot. Billy, Oscar. I mean, I still like the idea of a Tony Chohan getting a nod for fun. Josh Roberts. Is BJ Ushery in there? I think he's in there as like a questionable 4th or 5th, but I don't see him ever qualifying in the top 3. There's just too many Matchroom ranking points that he's giving up by not attending. Jim, any opinion?
No, somebody has to be in spot number 5. And we said it last year, we said it for a couple of years. It is absolutely wide open for anybody who's willing to make the effort and invest a little bit in themselves or have somebody else to invest in them. It is wide open. And it just shows BJ Ussery is there. Last year, Greg Hogue was getting himself up in there. Anybody, it's up for grabs for anybody. I mean, the top three will be the top three. I think certainly we mentioned that two of them are already pretty much gone, and we're going to have one of them announced at the end of the UK Open. At the moment, it looks like it's going to be Sky. They'll get the first pick. And we see. Spot five. Like Nate said, spot 5 means nothing. Absolutely zero, because
it's a coach's pick.
It's a coach's pick, and it's
that went to Earl last year, who couldn't make 6 balls in a row. This is, I mean, I've played on that table. I know how tough that table is. I'm not taking anything away from Earl as a player and what he can do on the table. I'm only referring to what he did on that table last year, which was borderline nothing for USA. I mean, he was put out there more than any other player. I mean, it was silly to pump him out there over and over and over again. But that's it. So, Chris, any opinion on that, or should we move on?
Move on.
All right. Lil Chris asks, do you think the golden break and luck factor should be removed from matchroom events so everything is skill based? Chris, go on.
I think it is. I think there is a certain amount of skill to it, so I think we keep it. That's it.
Jim?
I agree. There is enough skill involved in that break. And if you do, and anyone who thinks that the break is luck doesn't understand it. It's 9-ball. It's as simple as that. And 9-ball is that you will occasionally have shots that just win you the rack. And I got no issue with it. I think the break is as tough as they can make it.
Yeah.
I think it works. I think it's as random as they can make it because of the way you have to hit the pack. And if occasionally a 9-ball goes in, then occasionally a 9-ball goes in, because the way the 9-ball is going in is you're playing the cut break, the cue ball is coming off the rail and across the table. Now the angle it has to hit the 9-ball in order for the 9 to go is not such a different angle than scratching the cue ball. Either way, if you're making the 9 if you're making the 9 in the center, the cue ball is going towards the bottom corner as a scratch. If you're making the 9 in the bottom corner, the cue ball is going towards the side as a scratch. I'm pretty sure if you were to look at the data and go back through the data, there's been just as many cue balls have gone in after hit or contacting the 9 than 9 balls have gone in after contacting.
Probably way more.
So it's both ways. So
caveat though, no hand racks. No hand racks.
Never hand rack.
No hand rack though.
The way the break is just now is as good as they can get it. But answer a little Chris. No.
I agree with everything you guys have said. I want to add one thing in there, because when I'm at pool tournaments, for the most part, if I'm around people that I know, I've become known as like the guy who has pool on. And I'll bring my iPad and I'll watch when I'm at pool tournaments. I will have my iPad there and I'll be watching pool. So I'll be sitting at the bar. I'll be sitting in the corner. I'll be sitting wherever I'm watching that match from. And I'm well enough known now that people are like, oh, Nate's here. I'm in between matches. I got a 20-minute break. I'm going to go watch some pool with him. So I set up my iPad, and sometimes I'll have 6, 7, 8 people at these events, and they're watching with me. And I'm not trying to like denigrate anybody here. I'm not trying to I'm just pointing out what I've noticed. Generally speaking, the lower Fargo rate that you have, the more excited that you get about a golden break. I don't know what it is, and jump cues. You just get excited about it. There's something about it that's like you're just happy to see it, right? I mean, it's just an anomaly, but it's fun, right? I look at it, and maybe this is why Chris doesn't like it. I guess we don't know that Chris doesn't like it. He's just asking a question. And the higher rated player you get, the more you're like, oh, this is stupid. That shouldn't be. That should spot up, and this should start over. And this is stupid. Nobody should be able to jump unless if you hook yourself, you shouldn't be able to jump a ball in, right? You should have to kick at it, right? It's usually the higher level players that are saying stuff like that, and it's fine. But when you look at the Fargo rate distribution, there are a significantly larger amounts of 400, 500 level players, and even 300, 400, 500 level players that are watching the game than there are 600, 700, 800 level players.
Yeah, there's just more of them.
there's just way more. I mean, you got to adhere to them. The game
Yeah.
isn't going to be perfect for every single level because the lower players tend to want that. The higher players tend to want less luck because, well, you got beat by some 500 level Fargo player in your local Sunday night mini tournament and you're pissed off about it because they had 3 golden breaks and then jumped a ball in on you hill, and now you're angry about it and you think that everything should be skill based. I'm the same way. Whenever I lose one like that, it sucks. But I think that it's an exciting thing for a lot of players, and I think we got to keep it there. So we're all in agreement. Let's move on. Nate Kennis. This is Sam Henderson's stepdad. Chopping tournament finals. Obviously, this is not an option in professional events, so we're talking about amateur events here. Jim, have you ever chopped the finals of a pool tournament before?
I've chopped the prize money, but we've played for the title.
Okay. Chris?
Same. And the chopping of prize money definitely does happen at professional
At the pro level too. Yeah, absolutely.
But not playing the finals is different. I think that's what he's getting at, right? Don't play the final, just chop the money and go home.
Yep.
Is that what? Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's horrible.
No,
I did that on Saturday.
I like it when people do that. I hate when people do that.
I literally just did it on Saturday.
I've seen it happen at tournaments that had a live stream, and they had to announce the end of the tournament.
I've done it on
That's
that.
shit.
I have.
I think that's just disgusting when people do that.
My opinion on it is I do not love the game the way I used to. I used to want to play the game all the time, day in, day out. Now I'm to the point where if I'm there at 2 a.m. or 1 a.m., I don't want to be there till 5 a.m. I don't want to get home at 5 a.m. If I'm
then go ahead and lose the semi-final and let somebody else play the final.
If they give me the money for it, sure. Right?
No, but chop the semi-final money and let the other guy go through.
Yeah.
Don't win a match. Don't win a match knowing you're not going to play the next match.
Don't be so selfish. Unbelievable.
Well, I
hate when players do that. I hate when players win a match knowing that they will not play the next match.
So what if there's nobody there? Everybody that's out of the tournament left. There's no live stream. Then do you care?
If there's no live stream, then if there's no live stream, then I care less about it. Shall we say?
Okay, sure. So I have like a dead zone where it's like 10 o'clock to midnight where I will play it every single time because it's too late to do anything still. And I can still get home at like a reasonable time. Then I'm playing it no matter what. So this tournament that I played in last weekend, we finished at about 9 and the finals was about to start right around 9. And I'm like, that's still enough time to get something done tonight. So I'm okay at chopping. Well, the people that we were playing against in the finals were also okay with chopping. It was a Scotch doubles tournament. And so we all just chopped the money up and left. At the bar that we were at the pool hall we were at, there was probably 12 people in the entire bar. So there's no live stream. Nobody cared. I got no problem with that. But the heart of this is Nate is trying to get Sam Henderson to stop chopping finals. And if you're watching this, you plan on being a professional pool player someday. You are borderline a professional pool player right now. You're a 710-ish Fargo and flying up fast. There is no way you should not be wanting to play in every single finals tournament that you could possibly get in because every single one of those is experience for later on. You got to be able to play those. You got to see all of these different types of situations. In the finals of a tournament, you're up 7-1 in a race to 8, and your opponent just came back and made it 7-7. Can you do it? Well, if you have experience in the finals of settling yourself down into the moment, you probably can. You're down 7-1 and get back 7-7 in a race to 8. Can you not waste those last 6 games and get over the finish line? Well, if you've given up a few in the past, you probably should. Nate's not backpedaling. Nate doesn't care about being a professional pool player. Nate does not care about getting this experience. Sam should want to care about this. I want to get home.
Nate used to care about becoming a professional pool player until he realized.
And then he started a podcast. Rude. True, but rude. So I don't know. That's my opinion on it. Let's see. Let's move on to there. Where's the next one? Slow tables with tight pockets. JJ Fowle asks, what's your guys' opinion on slow tables with tight pockets? Well, I'm assuming they were slow because it was so humid and hot there.
Yeah,
although,
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Chris, I mean, you're the professional here that plays the events. What do you think? We'll
Certainly
just
not.
let you.
But
Well, you're the closest we have.
what can you do realistically? What can Matchroom do about that? It's not going to be nice. Everybody was just struggling with the heat in general playing over there, I think, talking to people. So, yeah, it's going to make it a lot harder. They couldn't have made the pockets just a little bit bigger because it was going to have been humid in the arena. You know, they can't do forward planning like that. So, it's not nice. What can you do, though?
I can imagine it would, because I know, I mean, you were there as well, Chris. The tables at the UK Open were playing. The bed of the table was already playing quite slow.
Yeah.
In the UK, so you take those same tables. You know, you take those tables over, assuming they would have changed the cloths and put new cloths on, but it was still from the same batch. And we all had our own theories about it, and the consensus seemed to be that it was maybe just a bad batch of cloth or whatever, or or a different batch or something. It just felt a little bit hairier and a little bit more kind of carpety rather than clothy. You know, it didn't have that kind of gleam. You know, you put a new cloth on, like the new Simonis. You almost see a sort of a gleam on the top of it. Didn't seem to have that.
That's what JJ's actually just said there, because I recover my own table. JJ's got his own club. If you do pull the cloth tight enough, you do end up with that sheen. JJ's saying that it probably wasn't stretched enough.
Perhaps, and if they've done the same in Spain, plus the humidity, then you know, wet hands all over the cloth all the time, then they are going to play. They're going to play wet and they're going to play a bit slow. Tell it to the Filipinos. You know, go tell the Filipinos that those tables were wet and slow. They'll laugh.
Your only option might be to have snooker table irons sitting around, turn them up to half heat, and run them over the tables to take the moisture out of them. But
I mean, you could go as far. You could go as far to heat your tables. You know.
What can you do?
It's going to be like that. Different conditions, different humidity. You know, if the airco is not up to standard in the location you're in, then you're going to struggle with it. But you play on what you play on, and it's as simple as that.
Everyone plays on the same equipment.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is the best chalk out there? The best chalk out there is whoever pays us to tell you that it's the best chalk out there. All right, let's move on. Any chalk you want to pay us? Yeah. We're very viable. Lobby us all you want. Just give us that money. We'll tell everyone.
Yeah, we'll answer that. We'll answer that question when somebody pays us to answer that question.
Exactly. That's exactly right. All right. Anyone else think that Shane Van Boening seems to be losing some of his focus? He just doesn't look as solid as he did 2 to 4 years ago. Europeans, what do you think?
I don't think so. I just think there's more big events around where he's got to play his best. There's just too many people out there that are as good, if not a little bit better, on any given week. So, no, I don't think he's just won a world championship 16, 17 months ago. Can't say that you think he's lost it over the last couple of years. He's still, 4th or 5th on the world rankings, the 2-year list?
Something, give or take, somewhere around
I don't think he's lost anything. Just because he's not dominating playing in America every other week. You know,
that's exactly it. People are not seeing him winning every week because he's not playing against. Try to be polite about it. Nobody's every single week.
We just saw what Fedor did for the last year playing
exactly.
the same competition.
How many of those tournaments was Shane in?
Probably exactly 2.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Shane's been doing what Federer did. He's been doing it for years. Federer did it because Shane was playing all the matchroom tournaments. Now you're going to go and play in matchroom tournaments. Nobody's going to dominate in these tournaments. There's reasons why nobody's going to dominate in these tournaments because there's a lot more very, very good players, and it's a lot more wide open.
There's 10 Shane Van Boening playing in it.
And referees are now racking the balls for you, Shane. So it makes it a little bit tougher to win every single tournament.
Oh, I think you've been talking to Jason recently, haven't you?
No, Shane has not lost his focus. The others are just better than they were before.
I mean, I think you could say he lost his focus, but he never tried to hold it, right? I mean, he's kind of at a point in his career where he's accepted that pool isn't his life anymore. It's not his wake up, thinking pool, go to bed, dreaming, thinking about pool, sleep, dreaming of pool. He's got other hobbies. He's got other things that he wants to do.
I bet he's still practicing hard, though. He's still one of the wherever he is in the world rankings, top 4 or 5. He was the world champion before last. I bet he's still playing hard. I bet he's still practicing hard.
Yeah, maybe.
I
Yeah.
spoke to him in the UK. He's still as motivated as he ever has is to win tournaments. He still wants to win tournaments, but he accepts. And there was a conversation he had that we all had together with him, Fedor Skyler, about the domination factor, about having that dominant. And he says it's impossible now. It's just not going to happen. That you can't dominate. I think the comment was made. I think I mentioned on the last podcast. There was a comment was made that Shane always gets I think the Skylet said to him, you always get the TV tables, and it's easier for you later on the tournaments because you've played on the main table like 3 times already. And Shane said, go ahead and win 5 US Opens, and you'll get on there as well.
Yeah.
And they just sort of laughed. And Sky said, yeah, that'll never happen again. It's just Shane went, yeah, you're right, it will never happen again. And they all know
Travel,
that
travel
just
became
win.
too easy.
Yeah, just winning one of these tournaments once in a while is a big deal,
Yeah.
So it's even for Shane, it's just tough now. It's very
Yeah,
tough, and it's 9-ball all the time.
Yeah.
9-ball, 9-ball, 9-ball. Weird things happen, just one match, you just have a crazy 20 minutes, you're out of the tournament.
A lot of his big wins are still ahead of him, though. They're not. It's not like he's in the.
He's not finished. He's going to win more stuff.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, Tom Kosha, this isn't a question, but love the new cloth. I have lots more cloth, so I am a dealer for Andy cloth. I will say this because I like shameless plugs. If you need some Andy cloth, 7, 8, 9 foot, PM send a private message to the podcast page or to me, and we'll get you hooked up with some cloth because I still have a bunch in stock still. Okay. Here we go. This is one that drives me freaking nuts. Opinion on using green chalk on blue cloth. Either of you feel any particular way about this?
Depends what the manufacturer is of the green chalk.
Yeah.
We will not say so, but certain green chalk do not leave any green marks on. You could play with a white cloth, and there will be no green on it.
So I will say this. This drives me nuts. And it's not for the question itself. It's for the underlying laziness that it implies. Okay, so there's a lot of pool room owners that say, all right, if you're coming to play on my tables, you cannot use anything but blue chalk if we have blue cloth and green cloth if we have green chalk, right? Or vice versa, whatever it is. Whatever your chalk is has to match it. Well, here we go. If you clean your tables properly, it shouldn't matter. Because, spoiler alert, just because you use blue chalk on blue cloth does not mean that there's not a mess there. It just blends in. So you are basically saying, I want it to be blue chalk on blue cloth so that nobody sees how messy my tables are and I don't have to clean them as much. And what that really means is I don't want to do my job as a pool room owner. I'm sorry, but that's exactly how I look at it. If you're not willing to clean your chalk or cloth at least twice a week, you're also the same person that does not want people to have different colored chalk on your cloth because you don't want people to see how dirty you leave your equipment. It is that's exactly how I feel about it. Maybe it's not always the case, but in the situations where I know the pool rooms to do that, that's the case. I mean, that's it. That's your answer. Any thoughts?
No.
Okay. Next question.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. What do we have in here?
Nobody's asking any personal questions. Why are you all asking pool questions? We talk about pool every single week.
Yeah. Maybe we want to. Maybe we want to just talk about other stuff.
All right. What's the next question? Come on, Cat Daddy.
I'm working on it. Here we go. This might be a fun one. Why do the Euros? What do the Euros do that makes them better pool players compared to the USA?
Well, this
Go ahead, guys.
This might be the last question of the day.
Fundamentals, simple fundamentals. It's that simple. Setup, pre-shot routine, and just queuing through the ball. The technique's just way better. Everybody in Europe's watched snooker. Monkey see, monkey do. Everybody's just copying the basics. It's really that easy, I think.
Jim?
That, plus we don't play handicap tournaments.
I would honestly say that. I had a conversation.
You want to win a trophy, you beat the best guys. You don't get a trophy for being the least shit player in a group.
Well, maybe this is a good time
Yeah,
to bring in
that's
this.
true. You know?
Maybe this is a good time to bring in the 600 and under that had a 200,000. And first off, we'll start out by saying John Barton of JB Cases, congratulations. You absolutely ran a fantastic event. First prize was $50,000 for
That's pretty insane for a 600 and under Fargo.
For a 600 and under pool tournament. That is incredible. It was 128 players, I believe, $1,000 entry fee. It was 64 or 128. I should probably know this, but I don't. I think it was 128, $1,000 entry fee. First prize, 50,000. I was talking to Dominic Dunn yesterday, and I'm like, "Are you watching this 600 and under?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not watching this 650 and under." And I'm like, "What?" And you know, you look into it, and there's like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players in this that are regularly 630 to 640 Fargo. That basically just decided to take 2 months and dump their Fargo down to play for $50,000. Anytime you do a handicap tournament like that, that's exactly what it's going to end up being. But I don't know. I just don't understand the idea that and this isn't a uniquely American thing where there's incentive for you to not get better. I mean, there's no reason to get better outside of being internally motivated to be the best that you can possibly be, because you can't play in anything. I mean, there's probably 10 open tournaments a year in Wisconsin, my area, and they're on bar tables. Whatever. I mean, the entire state of Wisconsin is bar tables. I would prefer to play big table. We don't have it, so I just settle for bar tables, and it is what it is. But I only get to play maybe 10 times a year, and so at a 680 Fargo, there's no reason for me to ever play pool again outside of going and playing in professional events. I can sit here and whine all I want. If I was in Europe, I would have more incentive to play. I think is it the whole reason? I think that, Chris, what you said is also pretty true. If you look at the Europeans, they tend to have tighter mechanics than the players in the U.S. And then just because I think it's important to say, obviously the population with Europe is significantly higher than just the U.S. What is it? There's probably close to 1 billion people across Europe. I don't know this, but I would have to assume it's probably pretty close to that.
You've got more active pool players. If you take all the federations throughout Europe and add the members together, you've got more. You've actually got more pool players in America than we do in Europe. Active players at any level.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
but we've also got a lot. You know, we've got snooker players. We've got English 8-ball players. You know, so
loads of different things.
We got so many different games that are played, whereas you guys are focused mainly just on pool.
Yeah, we definitely have no English 8-ball at all.
No English 8-ball.
We have no snooker. Yeah. Very, very little carom.
Yeah. So I mean, we've got more Q Sports to split people up. But if you talk about active pool players that are members of federations, I think somebody calculated out and went through it in America are substantially higher number of players.
So Tyler Steyer asks a question: how can 128 amateur players sign up for a 1K entry, but the entry for pros is 250? Because those 128 players are signing up for 600 and under, and maybe 12 of them are actually under 600. They just spent the last 3 months dumping their Fargo thinking they're going in to rob the place. Well, spoiler alert, 100 other players are thinking the same exact thing.
Exactly.
But I do think that, well, maybe there is a question in here. Do you guys think that 250 is too low for a professional tournament?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it attracts too much dead wood.
Yeah, it won't be like that going forward. I wouldn't think from next season onwards there'll be 750.
Well, I don't know. Let me ask you guys this question. I'm under the impression that there is no entry fee for golf or tennis. You qualify and you're in. Is there?
Oh no, they pay fortunes. They pay an absolute fortune to play in events.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Oh
right.
yeah.
I don't know that. So for both?
Yeah.
So what's
your
an
tour
entry
fees
fee
are
for
massive.
Tour fees or an entry fee for a?
Well, I guess they're probably
tour fees is everything in combined.
Okay. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I honestly I don't. I know that Emily in a interview at some point in time, maybe like a year and a half ago, Emily said that she was hoping to get to the point where there is literally no entry fee at all, and all of the money those players are playing for.
But when you get to that stage, you will be paying a membership fee to just be to just be eligible to be on the ranking. I mean, that's going to be the way it's going to go. You know, that's the way it's gone with them previously with darts and with snooker. That they have then 128 registered professional players on the tour who have a tour card. You know, and I think that's kind of the way it's going to go with pool as well. There'll probably be a cap of these are the professional pool players. The rest are outside or wannabe pool players who might have to go through Q schools. They're going to have to, you know, there'll be certain players that will fall off the 128 and other ones will come onto it from the ranking.
Yeah. That's what they've just done with the Asian Open. So the top 128 were guaranteed a spot. The other 128 spots were open.
Yeah.
But eventually that'll go up to, well, just 256 pro spots or whatever it may be.
Okay. All right. Ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question. From Toxis 8 Ball. How long will it take before the U.S. is a serious threat to EU in Mosconi Cup? Chris shakes his head like we won't be for a while. So go ahead.
I think like over any given decade, Europe will win like 8 out of 10, 7
Jim?
at worst.
About 5.5 months. I mean, they're a serious threat every single year. In a race to 5, 9 ball, they're a serious threat every single year.
And on top of that,
are they going to win? And you would say no. Most people are going to say no. The bookies will say no.
That's a serious threat, though, isn't
it? But that's all they are, a threat. They're a threat. They're a threat, but it's.
Well, you're parsing. Yeah, you're parsing it. They're
not 50-50, but they're a threat.
I would say this. We are so. If you look like the last 10 years, Europe has dominated. The 2 years where they haven't dominated was when the U.S. actually put up a real 5-man roster. You had Shane, Sky, and Justin Bergman as a core, and the introduction of Tyler, who was obviously in the. I'm not fluffing you up because you're in the comments. Tyler was a real fourth player. I mean, he came with the cojones that he needed to gel with that team and to make it a real roster. And then they threw in Billy 1 year and Corey Deuel 1 year. And that was enough. I guess it was Justin Bergman 1 year and Corey 1 year. So it was Billy as the fourth. I mean, anytime that they could put a real 5-man roster out there, they're a threat. Well, Justin Bergman, he fell off the face of the earth. He now travels 37 square inches from his little circle at any given time to play anyone in the world for any amount of money they want to play for, but he won't travel outside of his 37-inch circle. We don't have a real 5 anymore. Tyler can argue with me on this if he wants, but there really isn't. Shane Wolford, in my opinion, is the real 5th. This year, is he going to be ready? Very, very, very borderline. He might be ready. And if he's ready, I'll tell you what, don't sneeze on the U.S. That's a real 5-man roster with Shane, Sky, Tyler, Shane, and I guess now we're talking about a 5th. But I would say Billy's still there. I mean, that's a real 5. Anytime that we can put out a real 5-man roster against Europe, we're an absolute threat to win it. I mean, we've been actually pretty close. I mean, Tyler is a hung 8 ball away from, what was it, 11-7 or 10-7 last year?
Yeah, but he's the first person to tell you that the small margins are what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But that's with Earl Strickland. I mean, that's like the U.S. went out there with like 4.5 players last year. I know I pick on Earl a lot, but he's just not there. I do, absolutely I do. But he's just not there. I mean, he's not at that level anymore. He's still one of the best players. This probably the best 9-ball player this game has ever known. You can argue on that, and I don't know. Yeah, I can't even say he's not the greatest 9-ball player of all time. But he's not there now. I mean, he's just not. I think Shane Wolford addition to this team with Billy or Oscar as the 5th, and every single year we're going to be a threat. I think I don't think that we could win 11-5. We can lose 11-5, but we can win anywhere in between there. So, okay, let's move on then. Do you think that this is from Christian McLean? Do you think that Sky Woodward is at an elite level?
Yep.
If not, how long before he gets there and why? Jim?
I mean, an elite level. Sometimes, and that's the thing about Sky, he just doesn't do it consistently enough. And that's what we're now seeing from him now in the last two events. He has consistently done it. He's got to 2 semi-finals, which for me is just as much of an achievement on your level-wise as winning one and doing nothing in the other, Is he elite level? I mean, if I talk about
That's how you
elite
define
level,
elite. Let's define
exactly.
elite.
How do you define elite?
Let's define elite.
If I define elite, for me, the elite players are the guys that are 825 and above, because you have a group of probably about 15 of those guys. Now, if your elite level is more than like 10% of the proper players out there, then it's too many, So is he elite? No, elite for me is the likes of Fedor, Filler, Shane, Sanchez Ruiz, Jason, a couple of the Chinese guys. That's elite players. Is Skylar there at that level yet? Sometimes, but not consistently enough yet. No. How long before he gets there will depend on him.
So your definition of elite is basically 825 and above. What is
if you want to use a Fargo for it, then yes, serial winners. Which
that's how I would define elite is. Are you a real threat and not like an established champion. Not like the stars align and you find a way to put together for one tournament. Are you a threat in and out of every single pool tournament to be a winner? And is Sky there yet? No, I don't think he is, but he's knocking on the door. Yeah. I mean, if you make 2 semifinals, I mean, that by my definition puts you there. I mean, but that also puts you there with like Mario He, right? And is Mario He an elite player? He's been in every semifinals for the last, I don't know, 25 years.
Not there yet. He's not a serial winner.
Well, I don't agree either. But is he a threat if basically you might as well just start the pool tournament and put Mario He in the quarterfinals. I mean, that's how consistent he is. I mean, you might as well just start the tournament right there. And if you're one of the final 8 players, are you elite? Well, if you're there every single one of them, by my argument, then you would have to be elite, right? I mean, there's only 8 players. You only have to win 3 matches, and he's been in the semifinals an absolute ton, right? But I also agree with you that I wouldn't put Mario He as an elite player, even though that. So I'm contradicting myself on what it means to be elite. In and out, I don't think Sky's there, but I think he's knocking on the door for getting very close. Chris?
I think he can win. I think being a realistic runner to be able to win one of those events puts you in that. I don't care about Fargo rate that much. I think he can win. So I would say that if he's not there already, then he will be soon.
Christian McLean there coming up. I disagree. Kachi is better than Sky. I mean, I don't see how you could ever possibly say that. I mean, Kachi's a 2-time world champion. He's won the was it the UK Open?
Yeah.
He just won.
No, it was Toxis 8-ball that said that Sky is more elite than Kachi. And Christian is saying, I disagree. Kachi is better than Sky, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Kachi is definitely a better player. Yeah, I mean, there's no way that... Sorry, I missed the Toxic. Yeah, there's no way.
That's what we say. Kachi is an established champion. Put his trophy cabinet up against Skylar's trophy cabinet, you will see a distinct difference. Even with all the stuff.
Won the Whirlpool Masters. He's a 2-time 10-ball champion. He just won one major, like a big one.
It was the UK, wasn't it?
Yeah, the UK
Open, right? He won.
And he lost in the final of the Masters, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Sky doesn't have anything on his resume even close to any of those 4.
I think Sky's top achievement probably all round at the Derby City Classic. That's probably his top achievement.
Yeah. Not saying that he's far behind Kachi at this point in his career, but I don't think you can ever say that. Yeah.
No, but we talked about the difference being very small, minute differences, and those players that have got that 1% on top of Skylar in every department. Yeah.
Okay. Hard-hitting question. We'll answer this one really quick. Why is Windows Open going live right now and Pinozzo's watching here and not on either show? We won't talk bad about Windows Open. They had this plan.
We will talk bad about Pinozzo.
We will.
He says he's on the plane.
The thing that I will say this: the thing that Molina Mike does for this industry is unmatched by anybody, including us. I mean, what he does, I don't even know how he has so much time in the day. The guy is an absolute goddamn legend. If you don't follow Windows Open, get over there and do it, because the guy is absolutely incredible with what he does. I don't know if he has a team behind him, like behind the scenes that helps him, or if he just like a complete one-man show. But we're not going to talk bad about them. They are absolutely amazing with what they do. We're all trying to help this industry. They feel the same way. We're all just trying to, raising a rising tide raises all boats. That's what we feel, and that's what we try to live out. So nothing wrong with them going live at the same time. We want to try to avoid it, but this was scheduled on both sides. There's nothing we can do about it this time. Why do you think that 8-ball is this? Well, why is 9-ball so widely popular when 8-ball is a standard and requires more pattern knowledge? Because 9-ball is a significantly faster game. That's my opinion.
Another reason. If you try and stream a match of 8-ball, try and stream a table playing 8-ball, you need a hell of a bit. You need a real proper camera setup.
Yeah.
You need a real good camera setup. You need it to be crisp and sharp. Whereas 9-ball, you just need to see the colors of the balls.
Yep.
8-ball is a lot more difficult to, you need a much better equipment to be able to stream matches.
I've never heard that argument, and you got to have a lot more angles, right? Because you got to see if balls are going to go. Yeah, I've never heard that argument, but that is absolutely fantastic. I like that. Chris?
8-ball on American tables is just way too easy. I don't think it's watchable, if I'm being honest. I don't think it requires more pattern knowledge either. 8-ball on Chinese 8-ball tables or English 8-ball tables requires way more pattern knowledge than what it does on an American table. The games aren't even the same, I wouldn't say. Jim, you've played all of them. The games aren't even the same, are they?
No, the games aren't the same. But you need a bit of pattern knowledge if you want to make it easy for yourself. But you can rescue yourself a lot easier as well.
Yeah.
It becomes more important on the Chinese 8-ball and on the English pool because you can't get yourself out of trouble quite as easily there. Whereas it's relatively easy on a 4.5-inch pockets to get yourself out of trouble playing 8-ball. Carl Boyce said it as well. It's 8-ball. He felt, shall we say, in the past that 8-ball was the best game for pros to play because you only ever got one chance.
But that's also another way of looking at it. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
And sometimes
you only get one chance. One mistake and you lose a rack. There's nothing that you can do about it, because the game is that easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go.
Okay. Next question. Ed Ladawi, owner of Sandcastle Billiards. Does anybody believe we've lost the true beauty of 9-ball with fast rails, slick cloth, tight pockets, better balls, and template racks? Chris, what do you think?
No, I don't know. I think it's better now than it. Saying that, I never played when it was giant pockets and all of the other stuff. I watched a lot of it, but I haven't played a lot of it. I don't think it's lost anything. I think it's gained.
Jim?
No comment. No, I've got no opinion on it because it doesn't matter. What is the true beauty of 9-ball?
Yeah.
The same argument as, did we lose the true beauty of golf with these giant drivers and we're not using wood drivers with the face of, a nickel and, it just is what it is, right? I mean, technology is going to drive things forward and ask a single player if they would rather go back to the way things used to be. And the only people that are going to say yes are the people that can't compete these days.
Yeah.
And they could compete before. I don't know. I just don't.
The game's evolved. Every game needs to evolve.
But if you want those playing conditions, you can get those playing conditions. They still exist, and they can still exist for insane amounts of money. You can play for whatever you want on the slowest rails with the crappiest cloths and the big pockets and terrible balls and no template rack. It's called the Philippines. They do it every day. Every single day they do it because they don't have the greatest equipment over there, and they do it every single day.
Can you imagine if they still
play it? You can do it.
I mean, can you imagine if they still played football or soccer? Sorry for you, Nate. If they still played soccer with a pigskin ball that got soaked, that weighed like 3 kilos when it got wet, and I mean, sport evolves. Technology evolves sport, and like any other sport, technology has come into pool, and the balls are just the better quality balls, better quality cloths, better quality cues. You can't tell Roger Federer he has to play with a wooden tennis racket just because people think that that was the way it should have been played in the first place. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Nate Nate, Sensei Pool. Nate plays pool. I might just need some cloth. I'll message you. You got it. Like I said, I sell Andy cloth. I got a bunch of it right now. If you need 7, 8, or 9 foot cloth, shameless plug. Message me. I'll get you hooked up. All right. Why don't the WPBA prioritize streaming the top female players' matches rather than the matchers' lesser skilled players? Hard to increase attendance, viewership with unknown players.
Sounds like one for Chris.
I'll take it on. I don't care. It depends on what you're trying to do, right? So the WPBA is around for the long haul. I would like to think that they've been around for the longest time. They're probably the longest tenured organization maybe in the world. How long has the EPBF been around?
I don't know, mate. Maybe the 90s.
Okay, so the WPBA has been around at least that long. So they might be the longest tenured actual women's or anything pool entity at this point. I mean, as far as like running stuff, obviously there's Q companies and Simonis and Aramith, whatever. But as far as like actually like organizers and stuff like that, they might be the longest tenured in the entire world right now. They're obviously around for the long haul. Part of being around for the long haul means not only highlighting the flashy players that you're going to have, but also building the next generation of players. We know good and damn well that the top players are going to be there at the end. We really need to watch Kelly Fisher in the first 3 matches. Probably not, because she's going to be there at the end. We're going to get to see all we want of Kelly Fisher. She'll be there. We promise. She'll be there. We'll get to see her. Do we have to watch Allison Fisher? No, she'll be there at the end. I promise. We'll get to see her later on in the tournament. Let's see Sophia Most or Bethany Tate or Savannah Easton. Let's see these players, because they might not make it around, and they will be around for the next 20 years. So let's start building a profile for them now. I mean, if they're playing like matches with I don't know, Heidi Grudelbeer, who's 75 years old and has been playing on the tour for 40 years and still isn't above 300 Fargo. Sure, we don't need to see that match. I agree with that. I don't know that that's what they're doing, but
how does anything that you said make more people watch?
Because you have to build your business model for the long haul.
No, right? How does it make them watch there and then? Not for the future. How does it make them watch there and then?
Well, seeing Kelly Fisher playing over and over and over and over and over again, playing on the stream. The Shane Van Boning, he's on the stream 6 times in a row.
Why is that?
Because people tune in to watch. I understand that, but in 10 years from now, when Shane Van Boning doesn't play anymore, and you haven't built a profile for any player in the last 10 years because you hasn't seen them play, all you're doing is sabotaging yourself in 10 years by not having anybody. You got to build profiles. At the end, you have to build profiles.
There'll be a next better men's player coming along. My worry with the women's stuff is there's not.
You're missing the main point on the business.
The Savannah Easton absolutely is going to be a star. She is. Everybody loves her.
You're missing. I mean, if you're a company and you're looking for ratings, you're looking for people to tune in. Let's just take Matchroom, for example. I mean, this question, they're mentioning female players. This is not about female players. This is just about pool in general, in my opinion, about anybody who's going to be broadcasting pool in any shape or form. Estonia did not get into the World Cup of Pool. And I'll be completely blunt with you. Why Estonia did not get in the World Cup of Pool? They do not have a big enough population. Estonia is a small country. Now, if you're Matchroom, and you're going to be putting players onto the live stream, you're going to pick countries that have got a large population that are going to give you large viewership figures, because people will tune in to watch their home players. That's just the way sport works. If you tune in and it's a guy that is from your country, you probably, I've never heard of him before. Oh, this is somebody from my country playing pool kind of thing. You're more likely to continue to watch it. Now, let's say there's somebody from Argentina who has got access to the live stream of the pool, and they don't know anything about pool. They don't care if it's Kelly Fisher or Allison Fisher, because they just don't know who they are. But if it's an Argentinian player, they may just decide to keep watching for a while because, it's a big pool tournament, never watched this before, and it's an Argentinian. They've automatically got somebody they can support, so they're more likely to tune in. Now, if I've got a major tournament going on and I'm going to be choosing who to put on my tables, I'll be looking at what country are you representing? Do they have is there a large pool community within that country? Am I going to get viewership figures? And then I don't really care at the beginning of the tournament when there's 128 players still in, like Nate said, I'm going to get Jason on there at some stage, or I'm going to get Kelly and Alison on there at some stage. I'm going to get Shane on there at some stage. I don't need them in the first couple of rounds. There's going to be plenty of opportunities. Let's see what kind of viewing figures we can get from different areas around the world. And that's the way Matchroom are doing it with theirs, I'm pretty sure. And that's the way I think the WPBA, Predator, whatever, that's the kind of the way they should be looking at it as well. Let's see the viewership figures and see if we can create audiences where we know there is a demand for the game. Now, Matchroom have all their figures coming in from every single tournament, from every single country, from every single broadcast, so they can see where their hotspots are, and they can see which places they. That's why they've gone to Thailand. They notice that there's a massive amount of people watching from Thailand. It makes sense for them to take their product there, where there's a huge demand for the sport. You know, so they're taking all these figures and they're making their business decisions based on that. And the biggest factor for them within their business model is how do we expand worldwide viewership figures, because we want to go to other broadcasters. Eventually they want Sky Sports to be taken on 6 days, not just the last 2 days. Now if they're going to the business table with Sky Sports saying, look at these viewing figures, look what we're getting from these countries the entire time, that's what sells their product to Sky to get better, to get more. So it's not about skill. I don't think lesser skilled players, they have to create a product. They have to be able to create the brand and to expand it. That, in my opinion, is what happens.
I agree. Okay. How many games, Ryan Harmson says, how many games have been played on Nate's new table? Well, there would be a lot more if my back wasn't up for the last week and a half. So I probably have 150 games on it right now in the last 3 weeks since I've had it set up. But like I said, I threw out my back last week and I'm still recovering very slowly. So, owie. Clint Hines asks, just jumped on, any comments on the $1,000 entry fee? Yes, we talked a little bit about it earlier. We won't bring it up again, but yes, it is in there. Just in briefing, in passing. Christian McLean asks, who wins, Jim or Nate getting the last two? This is a fun question because egos are going to get involved. I think on a big table, I think Jim wins. Still on a bar table, I think the last two makes me win.
What does it mean? I don't get it. What's the question?
The last
me against Nate, and Nate gets the 8 and the 9.
Oh, I see.
If we're playing 10 ball or 7 and 8 for playing 8
right.
ball. Or 9 ball. I think on a bar table, on a big table, I just don't have enough experience on them. And Jim only plays on big tables, and for the same exact reason, I think that I would win on a bar table because of that.
I don't only play on big tables.
You have one literally 4 feet from you.
Huh? It's not the one I play. That's not the one I win my tournaments on, though.
Are you playing the marbles?
No.
Is that what you guys call it? The marbles?
We marbles, yeah, baby ball. We have the equivalent of bar box tables over here.
Oh, do you really?
We just don't have 4-inch pockets on them. They're like 3.5 inches.
With the full size balls?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
What are you saying?
I could turn my camera here to my. It's a 6 foot. They're actually 6 foot tables, are slightly smaller, and show you my Dutch championships if you like to have the last, if you would like to have the last two on your 4.5-inch pockets on the same table, then I'll be more than happy to give you the last two as well.
Mine are 4 1/4.
At least. All right then.
Mine are at least 4 1/4. Probably Jim wins. Probably Jim wins on the 9 foot. I at least hold my own. It's probably pretty close on the bar table because that's all I play on. But definitely Jim wins on the big table. All right. Let's see here. What else is in here? Lots of just talking. Less questions. Probably should have. I got to start doing this ahead of time, right?
I saw a lot of questions going through. Can I not? I can't do anything here. No. Oh, wait a minute. I can't hear. Look. There we go. Who wins Germany?
All right, we already did that one, so okay. This is absolute podcast gold.
It's fun for everybody else.
Well, this is good. I mean, that means everybody's partaking in the comments.
Yeah.
There's
as we're having this
little Chris. Where do you draw the line between luck and skill? For example, if an amateur breaks and runs a rack for the first time, is it luck or skill? If it's considered luck, when does it become skill?
When you can repeat it, I guess.
I guess it's
When
skill.
when you don't run round the room high-fiving everybody because you've just broken run.
And it doesn't go straight to your Instagram post.
When you are no longer as surprised as everybody else that you managed to do it, then you could call it skill.
That's funny. That's funny. I would say, I mean, it's skill if you actually know what you're doing, right? I mean, if you're just going up there, I mean. And we saw that, what's that? There's like this, it's an overhead view of like these 3 guys playing pool, and there's like 4 balls left on the table, and they're playing 9-ball. And this guy just whacks the ball as hard as he can, and it like goes off of like 4 cushions and goes in. And then he goes up and whacks the ball again, and it goes off like both knuckles of the side pocket, and then it ends up going into the corner. And then he whacks it again and goes like 5 cushions and goes straight into the heart. And then he whacks it again, and it goes like 6 cushions. And he flukes every single ball. He has no idea what he's doing. He just blasts it, right? I mean, that's obviously luck. It's luck compounding over and over and over again. But, I mean, if he plays that shot and then plays the next one and then plays the next one, obviously that's skill. I mean, it's luck inherently when something happens or an outcome of what happens that wasn't planned for. And it's skill when you plan for it. So, I mean, if you break and run your first ever rack, but every single shot is exactly what you were trying to do, obviously that's skill. Right? I mean, you can play your patterns to where you have luck built into them by, playing correct lines off of cushions to where you have longer areas to land into. You can play your patterns in 8-ball to where you have some error. To where like if you're trying to get onto,
margins for error. You're saying,
yeah, margins for error, and like playing. I'll often play 8-ball where I'm trying to get onto this ball, but I'm playing it in an area where I might be able to get onto this ball, which is a bigger problem ball, but I'm not really trying to get onto that ball. But if I get onto that ball, sweet. Is that luck? Well, I think now you have planning skill, right? I don't know. It's kind of a weird question, but I guess that's the way I look at it. Anything, Jim?
No, I think you pretty much covered everything. I mean, you know yourself. You know within yourself whether or not you've played it. I mean, you see players going up to the table and they'll put the cue on the table, marking where they want the cue ball to be, and it doesn't go anywhere near there. And they still run out, and you think, well, you're happy that you've run out, but you've basically shown me with every single shot and the preparation for every single shot that you're way out on where you were intending to be. So. You know yourself whether or not you've played it out the way you intended to play it out, or whether or not you've had to recover. And the less that you're having to recover, the more skillful you've become. Simple as that.
This is a fun question. Christian McLean asks, Asian versus Europe, who are on the teams and who wins? Okay, how about we do it this way? This will be a fun way. Jim, you're European. I'm now Asian. And Chris, you're the judge.
Okay.
I'm going to give you my 5. Jim's going to give you his 5, and you're going to tell us who's the winner.
Okay. Go ahead.
Are we going 1 for 1, are we?
1 for 1. You want to go first or second?
Well, I'll go first, fella.
Okay. I will take Coping Yi.
Sanchez Ruiz.
Wu Chiching.
Fedor Gost.
Cheng Junglin.
I'm already losing, I think. Who have I had so far?
Fedor Gost, FSR.
Oh, it's tough.
He wants to pick Kachi.
I know who I want to.
He wants to pick Kachi, but he doesn't want to destroy his team, and he wants to pick Jason because he doesn't want Jason.
He wants to sing
exactly. I want to pick Jason, but I don't think he's just not quite there. And Kachi is there, but I don't want to pick him.
You want me to go first? It'll help you out.
No, Jim's got to go.
No, I'm gonna take Jason.
Dennis Okoye.
Kachi.
Aloysius Yap.
Oh.
First of
I'm
all,
gonna
where's
go-
it getting, first of all, where's it getting played?
It'll have to be
In
get
Turkey.
played in America. It's neutral, right? It'll have to be played
Turkey.
in America.
Istanbul.
Vegas.
It's getting played in
Neutral.
Istanbul. Of all the that pool hotbed.
Well, it's right in between, right?
Yeah, it is right in between.
It's right in between.
right on the border of the Asian European part of
Well,
Turkey.
it's right
Yeah.
in between. Where do you
Yeah.
want?
You could do it.
I'm-
You could do it in Russia, right on that border as well, if you want.
Yeah. I'm taking Europe because I think Nate left out too many.
Left out too many.
Yeah.
Who?
Medium Co, no, Little Co, Wu Kun Lin. And there's probably like a shed load of others that I can't remember, but they're the first two that come to mind.
I got to pick 5 players.
I know, but you didn't pick the right
So,
five.
so who
Jim
you
wins.
taking off?
Simple.
Who you taking off? Oh, you left him off. Oh, you left him off. Who you taking off? Well, I wouldn't
Hey,
take anyone off,
whoa.
but you left him off.
I was neutral.
I would take that. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, a race to 5 Mosconi Cup style, I'd take Dennis off.
Yeah, I probably would as well. I'd take Yap out.
We
He's
have
not.
no-
He's not.
for any reason.
Dennis isn't a short race player.
Sure. If you told me to take if I had to take one player off and replace, I would replace Dennis with Koping Chung. That's who I would replace.
I don't think Dennis is a short race player.
Or Johan Chua. Johan Chua or Koping Chung. One of those two.
Shit, yeah.
God Christ, the way Chua played at the World Cup of Pool, Jesus Christ.
Emily Fraser said though they're going to have the Mosconi Cup winner play Asia. Did she not? Or did I imagine?
Yeah,
That is what they want
Not
to
this
happen.
year, but it's eventually.
I think. Well, I don't think she's going to hang around. I think that'll happen. Like,
Can we go back to how
Jim.
dumb your statement just was, Chris?
Who, Jim?
Yours. I
Why?
got to go with Europe because Nate left too many players off. Well,
You
who are you going
did,
to take
you
off in
left-
his place?
You did. You
Well,
left
I
too
don't
many
know.
out.
I don't know who. I don't know.
You left
Who
too
you-
many out.
I
Your
have
fault,
5
mate.
spots, bro. I have 5 spots.
No, you picked the wrong team. Unfortunately, you're sacked.
See Emily, if you're watching, Emily, this
All right,
is
Chris
why
is off the team.
pick me as Mosconi Cup captain because I
Chris is-
win before a ball's even been hit.
Chris is no longer on the podcast anymore. Okay, well, who's your
Mosconi Cup captain
team?
right here. I win before a ball's even been hit.
You pick 5, Chris. Who's your team? Because I think
For
that's
who?
fun. Jim, same thing. But who's your 5
For who? For who?
for Asia?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, mine was so wrong.
Okay.
This should be easy for
All
you.
right, chill out. Chua. Chua, Big Co, Little Co, Wu Cha-Ching, and Dan Thingy-Majig, who won the Spanish Open. There you go. Sorry, I can't remember his name.
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't like Aloysius Yap, Chang Jung-Lin.
I didn't say I didn't like them. I'm just Chan Jun-Ling, I think, amazing. He just hasn't hit it the last few events, but he will.
I don't see him as a
played
short.
forever.
I don't see him particularly as a short race player either.
Maybe not. No, but I mean the way other players talk about him, like
Mhm.
players way better than that, like top guys. The way some of them talk about him,
Mhm.
I haven't heard any. He's as well regarded as maybe anybody else from Asia, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's a
He's a
monster.
beast. He also has shot probably the single. He shot the dumbest shot I've ever seen a pro shoot in person, which is
Oh,
funny.
in person.
He is by far shot in my opinion, the stupidest shot I've ever seen a pro shoot.
It's
It
gonna
was
be pretty
Hill.
stupid. It's going to be pretty stupid to beat fucking Carl Boyes' 8 ball in the
Yeah,
Masters.
No. Shot selection.
Shot selection. Okay.
Shot selection. So he's playing Aloysius Yap in the the final 3. It's the final 3 at the Sandcastle Open last year. And Aloysius plays a safety, gets out of line, plays a safety. And the 9 ball was on the spot. It was on the spot. The cue ball was on the second diamond on the long rail, and the 8 ball was on the second diamond of the other long rail. So the 9 ball is basically perfectly in between the 8 ball. So Chang Jung Lin and the 8 ball was frozen and the cue ball was basically frozen. Aloysius plays a pretty good shot. It's a very common snooker shot, right? Off the break when you're playing the black. You go second diamond to second diamond, but he had the 9 ball in between. Chang Jung Lin, instead of kicking at the ball, jumped over the 9 ball, jumped over a full 9 ball and tried to bank the 8 ball and shot the cue ball straight off the table. I mean, there's not a lot of good hits that you can get. There's not a lot of good hits that you can get going kicking at the ball. I understand that. But there's not a lot of good hits that you're going to get out of that jump shot either. And you bring in the possibility of fouling. You jump bank on like a ball that's frozen to the rail. I mean, I just don't see how that's less than a 5% shot to begin with. And the scratch is completely there and possible.
He must have played it for a reason.
I don't know. I mean, I walked up to Aloysius I went up to Aloysius after the match and I talked to him like, did you see that shot coming? He's like, I have no idea why he did that. I would have never shot that shot. I don't know. I mean, it's hill, and any foul is going to, I mean, you kick at the ball, maybe you get lucky. Maybe you fluke it in somewhere. I don't know. I feel like fluking that ball is about the same probability as jump banking it in, and you don't have to worry about scratching or fouling. At least
banking at the length of the table.
Anything coming underneath the table, going above it.
Bank at the length that you lost me when you were explaining the map. Did he have to bank at the length of the table?
No, the 9 was splitting the cue ball and the black. The cue ball and the black were on the second diamond. The 9 was splitting them.
Oh, on either side.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's reasonable, no?
So he's jumped short side table.
Oh, I think that's reasonable.
You think that's reasonable?
What are you going to do when you kick at it? I don't think it's as hot. When you said it before, I thought it was something different. It's not as bad as what I thought.
I mean, it's 4.5 feet, and you have to jump it 3 feet and then land it either at 3 feet and let it bounce out, or you need to land it right on the 8 ball.
The distance that you have to jump to go over the 9, the cue ball is almost always going to be in the air when it contacts the 8.
Yeah,
the only way you can play that shot is if you're good enough to land the cue ball directly on the 8.
Yeah,
with outside spin, because the 9 ball was pretty much frozen to the rail, or the 8 ball is pretty much frozen to the rail. So you have to jump, land on it with outside spin to throw the ball enough to give it a chance at banking in. I don't know.
Next question.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, that was just like a little tangent. I don't see anything in here. I mean, just because Jim mentioned this, Asian. Oh no, not that one. Oh, I pinned it. I don't know what I did with it. Well, Christian McLean basically said he hates it. Oh, here it is. He hates it when people point at the table where the cue ball's supposed to be. I hate it if you can't hit it there, or with any like, if you put your tip down on the table, and then you're like 10 inches away every single time, it's like it just gets pretty cheeky, right?
The funny ones are the ones that put their cue. They put the tip of the cue in about 4 different positions, and then go and hit the shot. And then when it lands anywhere near one of them, they look all happy.
Yeah, right.
So they start going, oh, yeah, there, and then they hit the ball and go, yay! Like, yeah, okay.
I guess just Toxic Staple asks, what would I have done? I mean, I don't think I'm not saying like there's a super obvious shot out of this. I'm just saying that if the chance you're basically shooting a shot that is like less than 5% to begin with, whether you're kicking at it, whether you're jump banking it, no matter what you're doing, your probability of making the ball is like 5%. Let's just start there, whether you're kicking at it or whether you're jumping at it. One of them is a very, very obvious foul ball in hand, and that's when you jump the cue ball off the table, which is exactly what he did. The kick at it at least doesn't have that risk involved, right? I mean, you could end up scratching off, but you could scratch off of, if you hit the jump bank perfect, you could still scratch, right? So the chance of you scratching are, let's say, give or take about the same. The chance of you jump that cue ball off the table is like 50% on that shot, if not higher. So 50% of the time, you're just going to foul automatically. I just, in my mind, you got to kick at it and just hope for the best. I mean, there's no good option, but why would you take the chance of like a 50% ball in hand there? But anyways, that's we'll leave that in the past. Hi, Chris. He's back. Let's see here. I think that's about it. I think that we're all
there's
caught
one,
up.
there's
Final
one good here from Sensei. What would do more for pool? A big
Oh,
movie
here we
like Color of Money, or a big documentary series like Breakpoint, Full Swing, F1 Drive to Survive? I think you could make. I mean, Full Swing is the one they did about the PGA Tour when Live all started and stuff like that. I watched that. Brilliant series. I think they could do an absolute cracker if they got the correct pool players and the correct characters. I think they could make an absolute cracker of a series about pool. I think it would be amazing. But again, it's not big enough for anyone to take it on, really.
You want to know what they would call it? Red Door Den Training Center.
Red Door Den. No, but I think
I'll tell you what, that'd be awesome. Actually, Greg Hogan. Greg Hogan is like. Greg has a way of making people love him.
Yeah, the movie thing's been done. I think a documentary. I think something. Let's get inside. Let people get inside the minds of the pool players and their daily life and how difficult it is to be a pool player. You know, a little bit of an idea, a look into the insight of the daily life of a pool player, all the travel and living out of a suitcase, the amount of tournaments they go to, and all that. It's not just about what you see on the camera when they're shooting balls in, and it's a horrible life, to be honest.
It's a struggle for 99% of people on the tour, I'd say, to be honest. But the UFC do some really good things. I can't remember what it's called now. Training camp stuff before tournaments and the build up to the fights and things. Matchroom do some good boxing things along the same line. It would be good if they did something like that.
Jersey Shore with Earl Strickland, Greg Hogue, Naoki Oi, Jeffrey
Love
Woodward,
Island,
Jason Shaw, and Sky Woodward.
Yeah,
it'd be perfect.
But I mean, there's enough characters in there. I mean, Naoki Oi's name's just been mentioned there. I mean, there's enough characters. Huh?
And Jonathan Hennessy.
Oh yeah.
And Mario He. They love each other.
There's enough characters in the game that you could make something quite interesting, quite watchable. I think if you got the right people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, why not? But I agree with the documentary. Like something with like the Queen's Gambit, but with pool. It doesn't have to be real, right? I mean, just something like that. I think that'd be
you could do a series, but I like the idea of I like the idea of the actual players, the stars of our game. You know, getting onto TV, and actually being promoted out there as sports personalities. Not just pool players. That's where they need to be. We need to. These guys need to be respected and seen as actual sports personalities, and not just gamblers in smoky little rooms.
Yep. Okay. Well, any questions that you guys have? Anything that you guys want to talk about?
Don't know. We've been on here for an hour and 40 minutes, obviously already. I thought we had some quite interesting questions.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody for joining us and giving us something to talk about. I hope we give you some reasonable answers, that we didn't bore you too much.
And give us some feedback. Tell us if you like this. If you like this, I mean, this could be something we could do in the future. If you didn't like it, tell us why you didn't like it.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, we're always looking for new content.
I thought it was actually quite a friendly. I thought it was quite a friendly crowd as well. I was expecting some more hard hitting questions or some some personal stuff, but they kept it quite friendly. We've got a nice public, Nate.
Well, I mean, I think that I think the EPBF and the Matchroom WPA and Matchroom thing. I mean, that's a hard hitting question, but I think it's becoming less and less and less political as the days go on, because the EPBF and the WPA continue to do nothing but tread water, and the Matchroom continues to innovate and add to their calendar. So what can you really, what's the discussion at some point in time? Treading water or innovation? I mean, that could be a little bit more controversial, especially 6 or 7 months ago.
Yeah. All right.
And then, I guess Ed's trying to get us to talk bad about Windows Open. So rude. So rude. No, that wasn't even really either. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get to talk about my love affair with my cats. So nobody asked that question. That's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, It's
I'm surprised you didn't create a burner.
You have an amazingly inappropriate relationship with your cats.
I'm really surprised, Jim, that you didn't create about 6 burner accounts and just go in and just like start asking questions like that. You got your wife in the corner, be like, "All right, ask it now, honey. Ask it now." I don't know. All right. Well, I'll give a shout out to Jeff Potts. Congratulations. He had $7,000 out of the break pot last night. Don't let the IRS find out. Big money. I don't know. I guess should we sign off for the day then?
Yeah,
Call it a day.
Enjoyed it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, it was fun. All right, we'll give a shout out real quick to our Patreons that allow us to continue doing all of this hard work. Double Dave Q's, Dave Wiersma, Mo Bashir, Cody Wettig, Ed Ladawi, Matt Poland, and Morgan Lupton. If you would like to contribute to the podcast Patreon in the future as well, you can do so in the link in the comments. I guess I should probably tag that at some point in time in the future, but it is always in the description of the video down towards the bottom. And you can help us continue to do these things and allow us to continue innovating in the industry. So we thank you for all the people who do that now and will in the future. And I don't know, let's tune off. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Jeremy Gould, the same question that we said for the chalk. What is the best carbon fiber shaft on the market today? The best carbon fiber shaft on the today is the Jacoby 4.0. Not only because they pay us to say so, because it actually is. So anybody else wants to figure out those things, just find out who pays us. They're the best because they give back to the industry. There you go. But it is actually extremely, extremely good. It's the shaft that I'm using. So, let's move on from there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next week.